Hello, and welcome to The Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein. Thank you for joining me this weekend as I do the next section that we're going to read out of the chapter Hidden Sacrifices, the 5th chapter in James Allen's book, Byways of Blessedness, right here. This is a second edition. That's the one I'm going to be reading out of. Beautiful copy of it. It's got its bookworm holes and everything, but it has a gilded top. I love that. Second edition, beautiful copy, love it. Then I will also be referencing this. This is the one I mark up with the highlighter, with the pen, and everything like that. So what we did last week was the introduction of this whole thing, right? Introduction of the section, or the chapter, really, and the importance of sacrifice, and what sacrifice is, and how it's related to pain and spiritual growth, and all of these things. So it's important things to actually set the stage for what we're going to be doing next. So first, I want to just say thank you, everybody, for the support and following along. You can go ahead, like, subscribe here on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify. We have a Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, all the fun stuff. So go ahead, follow us on those platforms as well. We'd appreciate it. Thank you for the support. It's really greatly appreciated. So the chapter we're going into right now the chapter is about the reason we need to pursue spiritual growth and some things that aren't normally associated, or a better understanding of some things that are normally associated for change. Meaning, hey, it's a good thing to let these things go. You might know it, but you might not fully know why. Like the first one we're going to do today, it's only 2 paragraphs long in the chapter, and it's one that many people strive to let go of, but it goes into it a little bit more different approach, maybe some different verbiage than you're not used to, but definitely one that's worth following along and paying attention to. So again, this one's only 2 paragraphs long, but it's one of the most important ones. If you're from the 12-step community, it's one that gets talked about often, and I am excited to actually read this one. So if you're following along in this one, the Amazon one, because not everyone's going to have a copy of this one, but you might have a copy of this one. We are going to be on page 28, and we're going to be starting in the paragraph, if you are given. Okay, that's the paragraph we're starting on. Again, I'm going to read it out of this for the sake of reading from an original text, and in case there's any differences, though I did not notice any on my study leading up to this recording. So here we go. This is the first character trait that he was talking about in the chapter Hidden Sacrifices in the book Byways of Blessedness by James Allen. If you are given to anger or unkindness, offer it up. These hard, cruel, and wrong conditions of mind never brought you any good. They can never bring you anything but unrest, misery, and spiritual blindness. Nor can they ever bring to others anything but unhappiness. Perhaps you will say, but he was unkind to me first. He treated me unjustly. Perhaps so. But what a poor excuse is this? What an unmanly and ineffectual refuge. For his unkindness toward you is so wrong and hurtful. For if his unkindness toward you is so wrong and hurtful, yours to him must be equally so. Because another is unkind to you is no justification of your own unkindness. Can the pouring in of more water prevent a flood? Neither can unkindness lessen unkindness. Can fire quench fire? Neither can anger overcome anger. Offer up all unkindness, all anger. It takes two to make a quarrel. Don't be the other one. If one is angry or unkind to you, try to find out where you have acted wrongly, and whether you have acted wrongly or not, do not throw back the angry word or unkind act. Remain silent, self-contained, and kindly disposed, and learn by continual effort and right doing to have compassion upon the wrongdoer. Like I said, quick reading, 2 paragraphs, but there's a lot there. There's a ton there in those just 2 little paragraphs, right? This is something that gets talked about often in many, many areas of spiritual growth, in personal development. And I mean, there's whole anger management classes that are out there now, guys, right? So anger and unkindness, right? Being mean just to be mean, or being mean because someone was mean to you first, right? There's a lot of people that actually, they almost thrive on it. They have this arrogance about it, meaning that they feel like they're actually good at getting back at people, right? They're vindictive, resentful, and they take pride in it. It's amazing, actually. And I have myself at times, before I really understood what this was about, and this personal growth and this understanding and going through all of this really was about. And it's something we need to be willing to let go of. Anger and unkindliness, which means you have to choose to be kind, which means you have to choose to contain yourself and act appropriately. So let's go through it. Let's go through these 2 short paragraphs, see how much we can pull out of it. All right. Let's see. First line, if you're given to anger or unkindness, offer it up. Okay. First and foremost, he says that regularly here in this chapter. So whenever he says offer it up, he says it twice in just this, these 2 paragraphs, at least twice. And when he says offer it up, he means sacrifice it, right? So, and again, from what we read last time, that means this behavior serves you in some way. You've used it. It makes you feel powerful. It makes you feel justified. It makes you feel some sort of good about yourself, superior, whatever it might be. And because of it, you have to actually sacrifice that, right? Because it's unhealthy. It's not a good character quality to hold on to. It's not something you want to have in your life. It's not something you want to actually continue to manifest in your life, right? So you have to offer it up as a sacrifice, right? On the altar of personal growth, whatever you want to call it, right? But you have to take this tendency towards anger, towards being unkind, being snippy and mean and cold, right? You have to take that, offer it up. You have to give it away. You have to be willing to sacrifice that to see what's on the other side of it, right? And so anger and unkindliness, these hard, cruel, and wrong conditions of mind never brought you any good. You know, for as much as we enjoy them, human beings, I guess, we meaning human beings, they really don't do anything good for anybody. He states here, or he never brought you any good. They can never bring you anything but unrest, misery, and spiritual blindness. Those are pretty terrible things. Unrest, right? Most of us are only looking for peace. Misery, we want happiness. Spiritual blindness, right? Meaning being completely self-absorbed and inconsiderate of anybody else or any other thing, right? Just solely seeking your own personal satisfaction, solely seeking your own personal validation, right? So when you really think about it, what has anger ever done for you? What does acting in anger ever get you? Except for scaring people, except for pushing people away from you. Some people use anger for that reason specifically. They'll actually let anger be their shield, be their wall. They won't let people through that anger. They'll push people away. They'll use it as a filter to only let certain people in their life, right? It's a pretty effective defense mechanism. People won't challenge you because you're angry all the time, people won't even be around you because you're angry all the time. Then you are isolated. Then you're angry because no one wants to be around you, but you've pushed them all away anyway, right? So that there's the misery piece of this whole thing, right? It is such a damaging emotion. Now, anger, at least in the beginning, can be a significant sign that something's wrong, something's going on, right? Anger's usually, when a healthy person, when a spiritually sound person has a flash of anger, it means that a boundary's been violated. Someone's feels an expectation's not met. So anger's always a, in my opinion, in my perspective, a flag for self-reflection and to say, why did that make me angry? Was I holding that person to a standard that they couldn't fulfill, right? Did I allow someone to overstep a boundary that I shouldn't have allowed, right? That I was hoping they wouldn't overstep again, maybe. So anger usually is telling that we have something to work on, right? But a lot of us like to hold on to it. And that self-righteous anger is like the worst. And we'll just obsess about it. We'll think about it. We'll constantly talk about it to people. We'll find co-signers for it. That was one of my favorite things to do, is actually try to find other people to agree with me and get on my side. I like to build sides, and I like to present it in such a way that I was just a victim of whatever was going on too, right? But that professional victimhood was one of my favorite roles to play, unfortunately. So he says, anger, unkindliness. That's what we're offering up here. It causes unrest, misery, and spiritual blindness. It never does anybody any good. There's to actually act out of it, right? Like I said, anger can be a flag for you, so you to look at something, but you should never act out of anger. You should never let that decide and drive the actions that you are taking, because anything done in that emotional state is always going to be a mistake. Always going to be a mistake. It never works out well. So here we go. The next part. Nor can they ever bring to others anything but unhappiness, right? I mean, this is obvious, but sometimes I love James Allen because he'll put the obvious in there still. Sometimes some authors will just take the like certain things for granted, that it's like, oh, they know this, they understand it. He's just like, look, it does no one any good. You acting in anger, me acting in anger will not actually bring happiness at all to this world. It puts in more unhappiness, more misery, more coldness and hurt. Actually, it just pours negativity in when we're in a world that needs to have positivity brought into it. And that acting in the anger is just a selfish and self-centered thing to do. It's never a healthy thing to do, right? It brings nobody any happiness, even yourself. When I act in anger, I get a temporary sense of self-satisfaction, but after that, it's gone just as quick as it came. And then there's guilt, there's shame, there's regret, there's remorse. There's all of these painful things on the other side of it, because my anger is usually a response to a hurt or a perceived hurt. And then I take an action, and then the hurt's still there, right? An eye for an eye doesn't really do anything at the end of the day. I still feel hurt. They just hurt like I do, so I feel better, right? But all I'm doing is spreading my own misery around. All I'm doing is pouring negativity and hurt back into the world. So it never brings anyone anything but unhappiness. He says, then perhaps you will say, but he was unkind to me first. He treated me unjustly, right? Like, look at me. I'm justified in what I'm doing. He did something wrong, right? This person wronged me. I have every right to act this way. We love to talk about that. Why wouldn't I act this way? They did this to me. Look at this. Let me justify all these other bad behaviors, right? That's the bane of many people, right? That self-righteous anger, right? I deserve to be angry. No, you don't. No one does. No one deserves to justify actions. No one deserves to justify actions taken out of anger that hurt other people. It just never works that way. Like, there's never a good reason for it. And I know that statement can get applied very broadly to many, many things, right, going on in the world right now. And you can apply that statement to any perspective, to be honest with you, anyone, any of them. And you're going to get people that disagree or the people that think that's wrong. But it's never appropriate to act in anger. Just point blank, period. I'm not sure why that is something that people find they need to deliberate and they need to argue about, right? It's just not. So that self-righteous anger, dangerous thing. Perhaps so. He says this. Perhaps so, but what a poor excuse this is. This is a terrible excuse. What an unmanly and ineffectual refuge. James Allen really bases the idea of masculinity on logic, reason, and the thought. He doesn't discount the fact that there are emotions, but he does say they should not be the basis for they should not be the basis or justification for the decision that you make. Now, that was new to me when I started this whole thing. I was somebody that lived on his emotions. I thought I was always reactive to how I was feeling, but that's not how this is supposed to be working anymore, right? That's not what James Allen would call a true sense of masculinity, right? And it certainly is not a disciplined response. So when he's talking about this, he's talking about it's an unthought out response, right? It's an unmanly reason. Like, oh, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. That's not a good enough reason to do anything. Honestly, I agree with him in that. What a poor excuse that is. You're going to sacrifice your own integrity. You're going to sacrifice your own well-being potentially to get back at somebody and put yourself. And when you're operating in anger, there's so many people that say I was angry. I didn't realize what I was doing. That's true, but it's not good reason. You've trained yourself to act out of anger. You've allowed yourself to develop this habit of I get angry, I react to that anger. I hurt people. I take actions that I shouldn't be taking. I damage property. I throw things. I break things. I scream. I yell. I hurt. I'm violent, right? Not good. Not a good reason. You're angry and spiteful, so you believe you can hurt people. You believe you can insult people. You can disrespect people because you're angry. It is a terrible excuse. It is a poor excuse. It is an unmanly excuse. It is ineffectual refuge, right? Like it's an unjustified place to reason from. So, for if his unkindness toward you is so wrong and hurtful, yours to him must be equally so. So you're saying when you're acting out of anger, they have damaged me and hurt me in these ways. So the only appropriate response if you're going to act out of anger is to hurt someone equally in the same way or more severely. Because if you're not going to match it or go over it, there's no point in doing it anyway when you're acting out of anger. Right? So you're actually becoming exactly the thing you're angry with, exactly the thing you might even hate, right? So you're letting someone else's actions dictate and determine your actions and therefore your character and how you want to conduct yourself, and you are being controlled by the way someone else is behaving. That's what you want to actually walk through. That's how you want to conduct yourself in this world, is to be reactive in anger. When other people step out against you, you want to lose your composure, right? No, that's not where you want to be. That's a losing battle every single time, right? And you have to, and it puts you down onto that same level, right? The same spiritual level. You're now dropping down to a place where it's just reactive, emotional actions that might not truly represent the person you want to be. because another is unkind to you is no justification for your own unkindness, but rather a call for the exercise of great kindness on your part. This is what we all dislike, isn't it? This is what we don't want to actually participate with. When someone's rude to me, I want to be able to be rude back to them. When someone's mean towards me, I want to be able to be mean back towards them because I have the right to do so. James Allen says, no, you're called in those situations to act the way you choose to act in the principled and healthy way. So if someone's unkind to you, you're going through the line, someone cuts you off in line, has some choice words for you, right? You don't respond in kind. In the same way, kind is the wrong term. Shouldn't use that right now for clarity's sake. You don't respond in the same way, right? You don't react to what they're doing with the same emotion. If they're unkind to you, you react with kindliness, right? Kill them with kindness, as they might say. But because that's the way you want to be. That's the way you want to act. This is an opportunity for you, for myself, to reinforce my character. Right? To reinforce the way I want to behave and I want to grow and I want to be in this world and in this life. The actions that I want to embody and the character qualities I want to embody, this is an opportunity for me to act appropriately. Right? So when someone is unkind to you, this is an opportunity to exercise great kindness, is the way he put it. I wanted his exact words. And I like this next part, right? So there's the sacrifice. Just to point it out, someone's unkind to you. You sacrifice your desire to be unkind because you feel justified. You feel like you can get a sense of power or almost pleasure from being mean and being unkind in response. You sacrifice that behavior because all it does is bring unhappiness and misery and escalates the situation and makes everybody on edge, right? But you sacrifice that behavior because it's not going to serve you the way you want it to serve you. You choose to embody the character quality you want to have, right? Kindliness, patience, understanding, love, whatever it might be. And then he goes into this next part, which I really, really enjoyed, actually. He says, I don't know why I keep messing up the words on this. Can the pouring in of more water prevent a flood? When there's already anger, putting more anger in it, does that work? No. Neither can unkindness lessen unkindness. Being rude to someone who's rude does not really have a curative quality about it. It really doesn't. Can fire quench fire? Neither can anger overcome anger, right? Hate will never beat hate is what they say, right? You can never use violence and hatred to overcome violence and hatred. You're just making more of the same. You're just creating a twice as big problem here. So you can't overcome anger with more anger because it just blows out of control. You can't overcome unkindness with more unkindness, right? Because you're just feeding that same river. You're just you're letting that emotion grow and become even more and manifest in an even bigger way, right? That's not the solution. It's never been the solution. We've always tried to make it the solution. And guess what? And it's never worked, but we keep trying anyway because it feels good for a little bit. We feel justified, right? And the times we win, we feel really good. The times we lose, we obsess about it. And we just go off the deep end about it. But it never works. Never works. So here he goes again. He says, offer up all unkindness, all anger, right? Offer it up. Sacrifice it all. Right? Sacrifice it to see what's on the other side of it. It takes two to make a quarrel. Don't be the other one. I love this. It's a saying that has made me laugh every time I've heard it, where it's like, don't argue with an idiot because then it's just two idiots arguing, right? That might not be the most a socially appropriate way to sum this up, but that's what he's saying here. It takes two to argue. Like, if you do not argue back with a person, there's just no argument. Nothing's going to happen. No one's going to do anything. And guess what? It will end. If they escalate, if they continue to grow, if they continue to do whatever it is they're doing, and you maintain it yourself, guess what? It's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of that person. It's a reflection of what they're doing and how they are. This has nothing to do with you anymore because you were acting appropriately. It shows everything about the other person's character. So, don't engage in the argument. If one is angry or unkind to you, try to find out where you've acted wrongly, right? So those who have participated in a 12-step fellowship might recognize that verbiage, might relate to it, but also people who have been to therapy, people who have done any type of work on themselves, right? I'm going to read it again. If anyone is angry or unkind to you, try to find out where you have acted wrongly, right? This doesn't mean you have either, by the way, but you need to honestly take a look at your part in things. You need to honestly take a look at what's going on in the situation you're in and the factors that came into play and see if you had a part to play in this, right? See if in some way you've contributed to the escalation of this and learn from it, grow from it, right? I want to go on. And whether you have acted wrongly or not, again, he doesn't say you always have a part. He doesn't say you always did something that warranted this response by any means. He's not saying that. Do not throw back the angry word or unkind act, right? He's saying be willing to take a look at the situation you're in. Be willing to take a look at what's going on, what's happened up until this point, right? How is this developing, right? What led up to it? How is this going, right? And whether or not you had a part to play in it, it doesn't matter. Do not throw back the angry word or unkind act. It doesn't matter. If it's completely without cause on your part, or if you have contributed to it in any way, it doesn't matter. Do not throw that back. Do not give back the anger. Do not give back the rudeness. Do not give back the unkindliness. Actually, give back just the opposite. Love, tolerance, kindness, right? Give that back. You have an option today. You have the choice to what you actually want to do with it, right? But when you do this, you're supposed to self-reflect. You're supposed to take a look at what's going on and then choose and then learn what you might need to learn from it. Maybe there's been a boundary violation going on all this time, and then somebody responded in anger to you, and you didn't realize it had gotten to this point yet. Or you don't even know how you got. Have you ever been in a situation where you go, I don't know how we got here? Well, there's some decisions that's happened. It didn't just magically show up like that one day, right? It was progressive. It took some steps. It took a little bit of development, right? So be willing to take a look at your actions in a situation and even in the things leading up to the situation. But regardless of your participation in the creation of the circumstance, you still choose to act in a way that aligns with your moral and your principle and does not return anger for anger, unkindness for unkindness. Remain silent, self-contained, and kindly disposed, and learn by continual effort in right doing to have compassion upon the wrongdoer. Okay, now, who doesn't want to have these qualities, right? Remain silent, right? In the face of adversity, in the face of criticism, in the face of anger, to remain silent and composed, right? He says calls it self-contained, right? To not be reactive to the energy coming at you, to not take it into yourself and then spit it back, right? To be self-contained, to have your what some people might call internal locus of control, to have that solidly, to have your locus of control solidly within you rather than in someone outside of you, right? Yeah. My reactions and my behaviors are not contingent upon the way this conversation's going, right? I will always be kind. I will always be loving. I will always be just. I will always be honest. I will always be forgiving. I will always be disciplined. I will always be of service, right? These are character qualities. These are principles and virtues I want to embody. So regardless of how the conversation's going, regardless of how the interaction's going, I'm going to behave in a certain way. And that's what he's talking about here. So to remain silent, so not responsive to what they're saying and to give back what the negative emotion that they're giving you. Self-contained, meaning you're not losing your composure in the argument, and kindly disposed, right? So a kind disposition, right? Not to be judgmental or critical or condemning, but a kind, loving disposition. And learn by continual effort in right doing to have compassion upon the wrongdoer. Now that's what we're trying to do, right? Like this is they say spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection in 12-step groups, right? But that's something that goes along for a lot of people. It's something that's mentioned in the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the thing I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? Like we're still learning that wisdom piece to actually disseminate what's ours, what's theirs, what's right, what's wrong, how should I behave in certain situations? What's appropriate, what's not appropriate, right? So it's not a perfect science, but through continual effort in right doing to have compassion upon the wrongdoer, right? The more you practice this, the more you incorporate this into your life, the more compassion you're going to have for other individuals. And eventually, and I can say that I do this most times now, I can see how an individual is sick. I don't take it personally. I know other people's emotions and other people's behaviors means there's something going on with them because all of mine come from me. All of theirs come from them. They are responsible for it. They are choosing to present that way. So I don't take it personally. They've got something going on. They have something they need to deal with, right? So it just reminds me of that last part there reminds the turn the other cheek, right? To not engage with anger, not to engage anger with anger, right? It also reminds me of Emmett Fox's Sermon on the Mount analysis, the blessed are the peacemakers, right? Be a peacemaker in these situations. Do not take the anger with you, because when you give into that anger, when you respond with anger to someone else's or unkindliness with someone else's, you take that within you. And then what he said, it only brings unrest, misery, and spiritual blindness, right? Because you become self-obsessed, you become self-absorbed, and justifying your actions, right? So there's nothing good that comes from it. Choose to be loving. Choose to be kindly. Choose to be non-reactive in those situations, and practice it. It won't be perfect, but if you can practice it, there's just so much peace on the other side, because you don't have this resentment brewing anymore. You don't have this obsession and these conversations playing over and over. And I should have said this, and I would have really gotten him, and I would have insulted him that way, and I could have got him in this place, right? Like, we'll obsess over these things. We'll have conversations running through our heads for years of what we wish would have happened, or a conversation we wish will happen. It's not healthy. It's just not healthy. So let go of that insanity, really. Let go of that old behavior, the anger and unkindliness. Sacrifice that and find that peace on the other side. Hold yourself to a higher spiritual standard, right? Hold on to the integrity of your character, not in a judgmental, spiritual hilltop type of way, but to understand you're human, and the person you're talking to is human too, and they have things going on. All right? It's not about you. One of the biggest things I had to learn. So there we go. Anger, unkindness. Those are the things, first things that he talks about that we need to offer up, as he says. Sacrifice, right? And on the other side of it, well, there will be more blessedness. There will be more peace, serenity. And I can tell you from my personal experience that that's true. So I hope you guys practice that as well. So thank you all for joining me tonight, though. I'm looking forward to next weekend where we go into the next character trait that we talk about. I'm really excited to go through this next, I think it's 8 weeks of, 7 after this, of just different things to let go of. We get to some really unique ones as we go through, so I'm excited about it. But thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to next weekend. So until next time, thanks.